Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good morning so far, and today should make an interesting day for the market. So just want to do a really quick video here going over a few of the bigger name earnings that took place today and last night, a few of the key levels that I'm looking to day trade, and just kind of give you my overall game plan for the day. For those of you who haven't already, guys, in the description below, I'm going to post a link where you can join the Focus Trades team for 2 weeks, no charge, no credit card, none of that stuff. And you'll get access to our private morning live streams and our chat room. 2 weeks, no cost to you guys. Just want you to come on over and learn a bit. So, jump into some stuff here now, guys. So, in terms of big name earnings last night, a few of the bigger names were Boeing and Apple. So, Boeing going to open up about 6% higher. I don't like to typically trade earnings plays, but major thing I'm looking for here is, where is the stock going to open? So, they're set to open about 388 right now. That's going to put them up here in that all-time high territory. So in terms of putting together a potential game plan to trade Boeing over the next few days, that high right there is something I would pay attention to. So that 394.30-ish high, that's a level that I pay attention to over the next few days. And we could see one or two different opportunities there. It could just plow through that level of resistance and break out and make new highs, in which case we'd want to go long. Or it could creep up to that all-time high, maybe poke its head above, and then you could see some profit taking and a pullback to the downside. If that's the case, you want to go short Boeing using that level as your place. So that's the news there for Boeing, guys. I pay attention to that all-time high over the next few days. And then Apple. So Apple here, going to open up about 5.5% higher. We're going to see Apple in this 163, 164 range. So my game plan personally for Apple isn't to jump in at the open. I don't intend on day trading Apple. Rather, I kind of want to see where things settle. And here's a setup that I'll watch in Apple. So you guys know I've really been focusing a lot lately on the 4-hour 180 simple moving average setup. If you didn't already, go on my channel, guys. You'll see that video on there. So here's a 4-hour chart. Got that blue moving average. That is the 180 period SMA. And Apple's set to open above that level today. So it's going to be a few points above the SMA. My game plan is to let the dust settle, see how things shake out. And then I could possibly look to initiate a long position here on Apple using that moving average as my stop. And just kind of give you guys a visual of some recent trades we've seen on this setup. You got one there in Boeing. You got one in CMG. Personally traded JNUG last week. And, we've seen him in Facebook, seen him in Amazon, XLF. So I love this setup. You can put together a game plan well in advance before you take the trade, and it offers such a great low risk, high reward entry. You're going to go long on a strong move above that moving average, and two things are going to happen. It's going to work and rip in your favor, or it's going to come back and you're going to take a small loss. So that's my game plan for Apple today. How does it trade above that moving average? Major thing to keep in mind, guys, is that we still have Amazon earnings coming up on Thursday, I believe. Amazon is more important to this market at this point than Apple, in my opinion. So the entire direction of the market heading into the rest of the week and going into next week is going to be driven by how Amazon earnings go. So keep that in mind. That's something you have to equate for in your game plan. I wouldn't be putting on huge positions right now until Amazon is clear. But in terms of Apple, that's how I'm going to potentially look to play that. And in terms of day trade opportunities, guys, here's a few things I'm looking at. So I don't want to focus on the names that have earnings in the next few days, as the implied volatility on the options is going to be huge. Rather, I want to focus on tech names that could still see a benefit from these positive earnings, but may not have such crazy IV. One such name here is going to be Netflix. So on the hourly chart here for Netflix, guys, key level I'm focusing on is this, we'll call it 332 range. Going far back, to the beginning of the month pretty much, 331.80, 332 has been an important level for both buyers and sellers in Netflix. You can see after the strong gap here on the 11th, that quickly became a level of support. For a few sessions in a row there, a few days, Netflix did not break below that 332 level. You can see finally over here, guys, it broke below 332 on some big selling volume. The sellers took control, and then 332 then became resistance. Finally got a breakout above that level the other day. That was an awesome trade. And now here we are again messing around that level of 332. So for the entire month, 332 for Netflix has been either a level of support or a level of resistance. Right now we're back to the downside of it becoming a level of resistance. It looks like it's going to open above that level today, so won't rush into any trades, but that is a key level that I do plan on playing, that 332 level. If I do initiate a long, it's going to be based upon using that level as my potential stop. So that's the first thing I pay attention for a potential day trade in Netflix is, can we kind of hop back above what is now resistance at 332? And anytime you want to take a long trade, you then want to, kind of look forward on the chart and identify any other potential resistance coming up. So on Netflix, guys, after we get that 332 break, next key level I pay attention to is 335-ish. Can we break above that level of resistance that we've seen a few times over here that took some big volume to previously get above? If we can clear that 332, that's the next potential stop for Netflix, and then so on and so on. So that's how I'm going to play Netflix today, guys. And in terms of NVIDIA here, they definitely got a lot of negative news going around, but they could have a positive day simply because tech is going to get a pop here. So for a potential long trade on NVIDIA, I'm going to use 134 as my line in the sand. Same thing you saw there with Netflix on its own level. 134 has been a big level here for buyers and sellers. It was a level of resistance all the way back there in December. Very, very messy. But more importantly, that's where the start of that recent rally happened. Early January here, when NVIDIA saw a big amount of buyers come in and it started that rally, it was around that 134 level. So at least we can say, guys, that this month, 134 has been a big buying level for NVIDIA. And despite the negative guidance and the negative news, they could see a pop today for technology. So that's the level that I'm going to play for NVIDIA, is that 134. Looks like we're going to break above that right now. I want to see if we hold. Do the buyers hold us up at 134? Does that become our support now? And is that a level that I can day trade today? And then the last setup we're going to look at here, guys, is Tilray. Caught a beautiful bounce yesterday morning in Tilray as it came down here towards that key 77 level. Why is 77 key? Because that's where the last initial strong move started. Simple stuff here, guys, in the hourly chart. You can see how 77 was resistance at one point, and then the big move started there. Huge pullback, 77 held true. Tilray went on its crazy move, and it finally came back below 77. But when did it rip the other day? When it finally broke back above that 77 level. And despite that nasty sell-off yesterday, it temporarily dipped there, and then mid-afternoon, that was a line in the sand. Tilray didn't go back below 77, so when it remounted 77, I bought some calls for next Friday's expiration. And the game plan is simple here, guys. I'm going to hold on to these until Tilray either explodes in my favor or ends up failing and going back below that 77 level. I've positioned size correctly. I've accepted the risk. Not going to matter if it doesn't work out. If it does work out in my favor, could make a few $1,000s. For a point of reference, that bar the other day, that was good for 150% plus return on a lot of Tilray calls. So if I can see us back up here at 82, 83, I should stand to have a really nice gain on my hands. But again, guys, keep in mind, Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Google, all these big tech, big name, market leading earnings coming up are going to have a huge impact on where the market goes. So that's something to keep in mind as you take your day trades, as you initiate new positions. We're not in the clear yet. Awesome that Apple had a good release. Awesome that Apple's going to see a pop here. But that might give us some juice for today. Keep in mind the earnings, and also keep in mind today, 2 p.m. Eastern, we should be hearing from the Federal Reserve. So times like this, guys, you've got so many different catalysts hanging over our head. It's even more important to do these kinds of things in the morning. Have your game plan, mark your levels, and then show up and execute. These are the kinds of things that I do that lead to profitable trades on a daily basis. Nice short opportunity yesterday in NVIDIA. ever since it gapped down after they announced they're going to have crappy guidance, that's been the key level of resistance. So when it failed once again yesterday to break back above that level, that's when I hopped on some calls and rode that for a nice move down. What was I looking for in terms of a move down? I wanted to see if we could hit this 131-ish level. That's been the low of this recent gap. And sure enough, guys, that's where it stopped for the day, right at that level. That's why it's so important to just identify these lines on a bigger picture time frame, whether it's the hourly or the 195-minute chart. When you have 2, 3, 4 levels on a few different stocks that you can play, you have a handful of opportunities that you can trade regardless of which way the market moves every single day. And, over time, that's how you end up making a living out of trading. So that's what I'm looking at today, guys. NVDA, Netflix, Tilray, and let's see how the market reacts today to all the catalysts coming our way.